Hey guys, this is UC from iTradePrice here with the weekly video. So without wasting our time, let us get started. We're looking at a chart of QQQ. I always like to start with the market index, sort of give us some sort of a feeler. So Friday, right? Big sell-off day. It turned this. You're looking at a monthly view, so it turned the monthly chart red, right? In terms of it was all green. We started the month here. We started pushing towards the top side, right? We got to this level 334, 333, and then since then it started selling off. And now this week we turned green to red. So you know, a lot of medium-term traders like to look for such clues. So it could be a sign of coming weakness. So we will start a new month in the next few days, right? So once that happens, it will be interesting bar to see what really goes on. But right now the pressure remains to the downside. We are not seeing any follow through to the upside. We saw initially, but it's giving up. It's giving up the strength, right? In a weekly view here, you can see as well, you know, a good run since the past few weeks, right? We got pause right here, kind of expected because we had some resistance from here. We really couldn't push above that level 330, you know, with a really you know, momentum or strength. So saw a gap down open this week, tried to get back up, couldn't do it. And what's interesting is if I bring in the daily view, you can see the high of the week and the low of the week was formed on Friday, right? So you had a push up which formed the weekly high, and then it just sold off and went back even below the current week, the past week's low, right? So really bearish, under pressure, increased volume. The volume has not been trading up to this level since the past few weeks now or days now. You can see the volume profile, it's all red, no buyers at all, and it's really kind of just you know, shows you the underlying strength of the market right now at this time, that how sensitive these things are. So and you can see how we traded pretty tight right after the Monday sell open. You know, we opened up with the gap down, and since the past few days, midweek, we were just chopping around, and then we saw a little bit of breakout, right? A lot of market participants went long, thinking that we are going to go and fill this gap. In fact, we, you know, maybe tried that early in the day when we opened Friday, but it just couldn't hold on, and we just kind of sold off. So really bearish price action, weak price action, and you know, if I look at this sort of an hourly, 2-hourly view, just the structure looks like that if it breaks down this level 307, right, that was the resistance on the way up, right? So that's where we kind of stopped on Friday evening. Maybe we kind of do sideways and then a fresh leg down towards 293 becoming the next major support level. To really get going on the upside, we really need to, you know, probably get above this sort of channel high, take out 322 with good volume, and then we can see some reversal back up. But unless or until that happens, I don't think really we're seeing any strength back into the market unless we are above 322. And similarly here in SPY as well, right? Breakdown from the channel or the trend line, right? There were the touch points. So you know exactly why is it that we turned back down from here. So this trend lines do play some role in determining the course of the price and how the price will react around those areas. So again, pretty weak action on the weekly time period. It kind of ate up the past 3 weeks of action, kind of closed towards the low end of the week. The structure support is not until 393, right? If it keeps on selling off, that's where we had the resistance on the way up, right? Multiple touch points, so that can easily be the downside target initially here on the further weakness, right? To get back bullish on this name, really need to work hard. You know, this is not a normal candle. This is a pretty big bearish trend bar, right? You can just look at the size of this bar compared to all this price bars. So that tells you that it was pretty strong, good volume, broke below the recent structure, even closed below this structure. So this is the from technical price point of view, this is the next support level on the downside. If you want to go back up, we'll have to just see how it reacts to any bullish day. Do we see any follow through, or things like that, right? Or if we see a breakdown failure where we don't see a big follow through to the downside after this Friday bar, so on and so forth. We'll just have to kind of look for clues. But right now the trend remains at least down for now, pretty much. Similarly, Amazon weekly view right here, you can see we were trading kind of sideways, neutral to slightly up, but couldn't really get above 146.6 level, right? That's where the breakdown started from here 3 or 4 months ago. We have this big sort of U, and now sure, we can try to make a handle here, but we're not gonna count on that, unless or until it can get back above 138. Sure, we can slightly start feeling a little bit of bullish that it wants to eventually go back up towards 146, but right now it just does not feel like that's happening. It's just so weak. And a daily view right now as well, we have this gap from the post earnings, right? Gap up right here that remains kind of unfilled, so a lot of room to the downside if it wants to break down further from this psychological 130 level. Okay, so look for that price action. Apple also had a good run since the past couple of months, but now it's kind of giving up some of that move, and you can see it kind of stopped right exactly at the downtrend line. This one right here, first touch point, second and third one, where we had this top wick which showed that sellers had an upper hand there at the downtrend line, and we saw a nice follow through to the downside and expected 163 support, because we have first touch point, second touch point, and then that becomes the natural magnet for the price to gravitate towards. Now let's see, 160 becomes the psychological support, sort of a round number to look for on the move down below 163. We might even actually open up below 163 on Monday and just kind of go towards the structure low here, 160. We have a little bit of gap here, so definitely we can play according to some setup there if it opens below 163. Okay, Tesla. Let's look at the monthly view just for fun. You can see from monthly perspective, it's not really that bad, right? We had this big monthly bullish bar, and now we're just kind of seeing a slight pullback, nothing too deep to take us down towards the middle section of the previous monthly bar. So if we can even kind of manage to stay above 280, I think it's relatively strong and not bad. But from just the overall market perspective, yes, it remains vulnerable, so we'll see what happens. But relatively speaking, it held okay. It did not really break down that much after the split here. Yes, we have been weak. We have seen these all top wicks here, which shows sellers are still in control, and any chance they see the price go up, they just kind of sell it off. So, but as long as we above 280, 279.4, we got a couple of touch points there. The structure can be neutral to slightly bullish, but just have to be cautious given the market is in sort of a free fall from Friday. So we'll see what happens. And also in a daily view, yes, we are maintaining the price structure above 280, but if you look at the daily bars, you can just see a bunch of these in this section. Only few days, right? You see green bars, right? Only few days, and don't really see any upside follow through to any green bars. You got this whole bunch of bearishness, right? Bearish bars. But my point is that even with that bearishness, it's not really breaking down, but maybe it will. So we'll just have to take it one day at a time. On the upside, 303.6 is sort of the level to break above, right? This one, we have few touch points right there, or the current week high, previous week high. So unless that gets taken out, we cannot target 314. But if it can maintain this structure, you know, kind of go towards the high end, maybe we see some sort of an ascending triangle. But with the current condition, it's just it just does not look like it's going to happen. But with Tesla, you never know, right? So numbers to look for: 279.4 on the downside as your initial target on weakness, and then see if it wants to break down further. On the upside, unless or until 303.6 gets broken, you know, not a whole lot of bullish action in that name. Okay, Square, it's just been a disappointment, this name itself. Just sideways, not even trading this name recently. I don't see any good setup on a weekly level as well. It's just weak based on the previous week's commentary. I think this is sort of a 3-bar bearish pattern, right? You saw bulls pause and then back down, and now we are seeing a little bit of follow through to the downside below 73.8. If it wants to go back down, the structure low becomes your natural first target around 56 if it really wants to break down, right? So to feel bullish, I really need to see a weekly close back above 75, right, to start even playing this name on the bullish side. Otherwise, no need to do that. AMD, all right, weekly view, we had really price action getting tight, right? We had a couple of inside weeks and then a breakdown, right? You know, it kind of broke out towards the downside out of those that tightness. 90.6, that's the recent structure low, right? Below that, we can, I think, go towards 85 all the way to 80 if it gets weak. But if market reverses hard and it traps the sellers, then really look for a move above 98, because that's sort of the middle of this triangle structure. That's where we kind of broke down from. That's the recent high. So a lot of market participants are probably short against the high of this bar. So if it gets back above that, they'll be forced to cover, and that's your chance to kind of join the rally toward the upside if that happens. So yeah, I mean, just look for this trend line to be broken above 97.6 to play on the call side. But towards the put side right now, that's where the sort of the resistance was on the way up, right? We back tested this, we bounced for exactly from this area. That's where we sort of paused here this past week. So below 90.6, bearishness. Above that, neutral. Above 97.6, you can be kind of bullish on this name. NVDA, after the earnings, really did not do much. Yeah, we saw, you know, some bullishness, but then it got rejected exactly from 180 area. So yeah, I mean, no action, no bullishness in this name unless we can get back above this downtrend line. Weekly view, this was the daily. In the weekly view as well, pretty weak. But one thing, if I go and drill down into a daily view, is that it can be a sort of a head and shoulder sort of a play, but it just has to kind of show some support here around 160. If you remember we were talking about this could be a play, something like this, but it really has to hold this 160 on a closing basis. Sure, if we trade down below, but if we can close back up, that's a good sign. Okay, so that's a good sign, and then we can see if it wants to kind of crawl back up and then eventually take out 179.5 with 193 being the neckline. But of course, this is all sort of different scenarios that we look for, you know, and kind of we have to have little confirmations on the way that this is really happening, right? A close below 160 just kind of nullifies that scenario for the time being, right? And then we have these lower levels to kind of target if it wants to go down. Microsoft weekly view, again, got a rejection right from the top of the resistance line right here. We have all these touch points, all these top wicks. So we got exactly to that level and got rejected pretty hard. And now we're back where we broke out from. We broke out right here. You know, we had all these touch points, resistance levels. So now this level is acting as support, or at least, you know, for right now, that's exactly where it closed. It didn't already traded below that, but with the way it is, I mean, I'm sure if I look at the volume, which is you know, kind of increased volume on this down day, definitely you don't want to be catching the falling knife. We'll see how price acts around this area. Maybe it forms a couple of hammer bars or things like that, and if we start some some stabilization, then sure, we can try to kind of play towards the 280 area, with this being the support, right? But if it breaks down further from this 267.9 level, then definitely you have 260 psychological and then 249.5, the structure low as your initial downside targets. Meta traded this name a couple of times this week. The big thing was this whole 183 level, right? That was the support on the way down. Once we broke down, that became the resistance level. That's exactly where we got rejected from a couple of weeks ago, and since then we've been just kind of moving towards the downside. I don't see any big bullish days like this to see any upside momentum. In fact, we had this Friday sell-off, couldn't really get back above 171. That's sort of the pivot. You can say we have half price action below this, half of it is up above that, and now we're comfortably below that level. So 154 becomes sort of the next downside target on further weakness in this name. Okay, let's take a look at SPX as well. It's pretty similar to SPY, right? Because that's exactly where we kind of got rejected from the downtrend line. We got this starting from here, second touch point right here, and then sort of third touch point. That's where we got the rejection from. Watch out for this 40.55 area. If that gets broken, I think 4,000 to 39.11 becomes your sort of the next downside target, because that was the resistance on the way up. Once we broke out, we back tested it, went back up, so that becomes your natural target on the downside if we see more hard selling, right? To really feel bullish, this is all neutral zone, right? To really feel bullish, it needs to get above 4,200, try to go towards this downtrend line, break this 43.25 as well. But again, that's all scenarios that can play out, so we'll just have to take it one day at a time and see how and where the prices are closing. Okay, let's take a look at Google as well. So on a weekly time frame right now, Google, we've been kind of interpreting this whole price section as the one big bear flag in a weekly time frame, right? We got the rejection from the top end of the bear flag. We are comfortably below the 113 mark, which is sort of the midpoint of this bear flag. So now we're looking to break down from this one as a follow-through move, and see if we could target the 100 price point on further sell-off, right? So you always hear me saying that if you want to play a bear flag, try to catch it on the top end. That's where your risk is the lowest, right? So that's exactly where you should have gotten in if you were anticipating this move, right? We saw the rejection from here, and even right now it's not bad as long as your stop loss is 115, 116.8, because that once price get above that, we'll be back above the midpoint of the flag. So that should be your risk if that's where you're getting in right now, trying to play the downside on this breakout. Okay, let's take a look at a couple of other names, like the green box names that we were had identified. So ABBV, here's the long-term uptrend line. Here's the green box. That's where we are, or actually I'm looking to kind of start nibbling some shares, right, for a swing trade, right? The thing with the swing trade is that you have to wait for the price to come to your zone, right? So it's a game of patience. You have to wait. So I remember giving out this scenario of 2 weeks ago, and since then I've been patiently waiting, and now it looks like it wants to come to the zone that I want to kind of be long in, and I'm anticipating that it will hold this level and kind of move back up from there, right? If it breaks down further, definitely this is another area that I will definitely add to my position, because that was the resistance on the way up. That's where we saw the breakout from. So but if it really breaks down below this uptrend line, sure, we can see some move towards 120, but not bad from risk and reward perspective. You can slowly start accumulating this name, maybe 6 to 8 months out, calls in the money or close to the money or something like that, and then just buy time because you're playing it for a swing trade. ABC, another name. So we got a rejection from 150. Let's see if it comes down to here in the next 2 to 3 weeks. That would be the really nice level to get long above, because we have resistance over here, right? That's where the price was kind of getting stopped all this time, right? We broke out, back tested it, and then went back up. So now let's see if it wants to come here, you know, test this uptrend line and then start its journey back towards the upside. A couple of other names we've already played out. HES, right? We got long in this area. I remember taking profits here around 110, 111, and then it went up to all the way to 124. So not a bad looking chart in this current market environment, right? So the thought process is still the same in terms of the ABBV and ABC we are looking to get long, right? So that's exactly where we saw the resistance. It broke out, back tested, boom, right? And that's exactly what it did. It came back down, tested that level right here, right? And then it went back up. So the thought process is the same. The framework to get in is the same. We just have to look for other names that are playing that out as well. TKR, remember playing this name as well, got long around 53, added some towards 50, and then, you know, it saw a nice move to the upside. I remember coming out around 58, but it went all the way up to 67, 68 even, right? I always come out a little quick. I don't know why, but yeah, at least from the thought process perspective, again, this is a good name to consider in case it comes back down to 52 and all that area. Let's take a look at a couple of others. Nike, I remember playing this name or, you know, towards the long side, the first green box scenario right here. It jumped right nicely. We did not play this one, but now this one again looks lucrative. It comes down to below 100, 96, 97, 98 area to for a swing trade, right? McDonald's, pretty good looking right now but it's a slow name, a little higher priced, but if it comes down to 248, 228, even 202, and if it really breaks down, right? But these are the three boxes I see that one can play or try to swing this name as part of the different setups. All right, guys, hope you guys like this week's video as well. If you have any questions, remarks, feedback, please do not hold back. Let me know. All right, thank you, and have a good rest of your weekend. Bye-bye.